Live from Curry Stadium, located at beautiful Emerson Park in Midland, Michigan. This is the 64th Annual International Softball Congress Men's World Fast Pitch Championships. The top 48 teams, their pitchers, and players from around the world will battle for 9 days to see who leaves with the coveted Carol Forbes Memorial World Championship Trophy. Our broadcast team at ballparkradio.tv is ready to bring you all the action, so let's go down to the field.
It's what these players have played for over the summertime. They all showed up here 1 week ago yesterday with one goal in mind, that was to claim the Carol Forbes Memorial Trophy. Good evening, fastball fans around the world, wherever you're joining in from. We're glad you've joined us here on ISC TV. Kyle Smith and Blair Setford here for the call of the championship game, game number 141 of 141. There are no winners or losers. It's only one. Mano a mano, team to team. The winner walks away the champion. Tonight, it's the Rivershark Twins and the Jarvis Travellers, as Jarvis has come all the way back through the losers bracket to come and stake their claim to the title that they so desperately want. The number one team coming into the tournament, the two-time defending champions, have got history on their mind as they break their huddle and come back into the diamond. We'll welcome in Blair Setford. And Blair, you look at the travel that these two teams have taken to get to this championship. It's a shorter one for Kitchener, but a gutsier one for the Jarvis Travellers.
Well, for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins, we've been talking about them all week as being methodical and businesslike in their dealings. They started out with a 4-0 win over the Marshall Lightning, 4-1 over the Elmira Expos in a game that was closer than even the score indicates. They started to turn up the wick, a 7-0 5-inning win over the Bar of Appleton. Last night, in gutsy 10 innings, trailing 5-2 to the Chicago New York squad, they rallied, they tied, they won in extra innings, and then the big one, 10-1 over the New York Gremlins, demolishing the Gremlins pitching from start to finish, top to bottom. The Riversharks hitting the ball. For the Jarvis guys, it was a little bit longer road. They started pretty easy, a 7-0 5-inning no-hitter over the Toronto Gators, 2-0 over Kegel, and right away you started to see that maybe this potent lineup wasn't firing on all cylinders. 3-0 over Alba. 3-1 over the Gremlins on Thursday, as they lost, actually, on Thursday, rather. That's the game that put them into the losers bracket. This is where they had to get down and dirty. They win 3-1 over Pennsylvania Power. 6-4 over Chicago, New York earlier today. Thought they were home and cooled at 4-1, but a 3-run home run by Todd Schultz tied things and sent them into extra innings. And then, against the New York Gremlins, Jeremy Tracy sends them into extra innings again, and it takes them a long time to finish off the Gremlins this time. They use up Adam Falkard today. They used up Trevor Ethier early. It was Andrew Phibbs, of all people, who got the win over the Gremlins here earlier today. And now they're going to have to face Don Scott and Grant Patterson, the two-headed monster for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. It's Don Scott getting the start. Will set the defense for Kitchener. Brad Ezekiel in left, Ryan Wolf in center, Daryl Joy in right, Eit, Gulagong, Miller, and Blair Ezekiel around the infield. It's Donnie Scott throwing to Patrick Shannon, and we are all set to go here on ISC TV as Fred Turkelson steps in for Jarvis. He's going to do a little manicuring in that batter's box, get right back at that back line. We're ready to go. The lights are on. Everybody's home. Donnie Scott fires in a strike to start the game. Turkelson pounds that bat on the plate. And missing up and away is Don Scott. So 1-1 count. Again, if you're just joining us here on ISC TV, if you're just getting in, it's the game that everybody wanted to see. Kitchener and Jarvis. Donnie Scott on the mound for the Rivershark Twins. Turkelson laces this one foul up and out of play on the left side.
Well, Turkelson, he's not getting fooled. He's getting his hacks in here against Donnie Scott, who gets the start. Look for Grant Patterson down the road as he's already in the bullpen starting to soft toss with Jason Sanford. We're underway on the championship game. Boy, oh boy, it's going to be a good one.
And Turkelson, a two-hopper off his foot. Dead ball, or is it a dead ball? It's a fair ball. And, well, now we've got an out being called. What do we got, Kyle? We got nobody making a clear, definitive call.
Well, I've got the home plate umpire, as that's a fair ball, and now we've got a dead ball called by the third base umpire, as that one went off that lead foot. No argument from the Rivershark Twins, so we'll go with a 1-2 count.
Well, Turkelson came out of the box hopping, but I saw our home plate umpire, Wiramu Tamaki, call fair ball. So Scott misses down and in, runs the count to even at 2s. It's Wiramu Tamaki on home plate, Brent Chadwick out at first base, Rick Havercroft on third, and then down the line and left, Steve Janke, Randy McLam down the line and right. And missing out and away is Don Scott. The Jarvis team is all up at the fence. Lots of noise coming right now from that Jarvis dugout. They feel they're on a roll, and that's the kind of momentum that they want to bring into this championship game. Again, it took them a while to get here. 8 innings in the opener, 10 in the losers bracket final. This one is laced out foul and drifting out of play into that left side dugout.
Well, a good start for Freddie Turkelson, as he's seeing a lot of pitches and making Donnie Scott throw a lot of pitches, giving his team a lot of looks here at Donnie, as that's what the leadoff man's got to do. Make that pitcher throw a ton of pitches to you in your first plate appearance.
So a full count to Fred Turkelson, the Great Dane. And a one hopper into the glove of Jody out, foul down the line on the left side. We just had a little teeny tiny shower, just enough to barely keep the dust down here at beautiful Curry Stadium in Midland, Michigan, downtown Midland. Emerson Park, a gorgeous facility for the World Tournament, as Turkelson fouls this one off out of play as well. It's been a fabulous week here. This is the lone remaining game. We've handed out trophies to 3 Ontario teams so far, as Ontario wins the ISC2, they win the Legends, they win the Youth, and they're going to win the World Tournament as well, as only for the second time in the history of the ISC do we have 2 Canadian teams in the final.
Well, it's a big feather in the cap to the Canadian teams. Mind you, there's a lot of international flavor on those Canadian teams, but the sponsors, they mainstay from the Canada land.
Here's a 1-2-3 hopper out to second, on to first, just getting the speedy Turkelson, as Blake Miller went a long way to corral that ball. He surrounded it and then made the toss to Blair Ezekiel for the out.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people had bated breath as Ezekiel coming across. That ball took a long time for him to get to it, and then a good hard throw over to Blake Miller in time, says the first base umpire.
Up and in to Ben Anoka. Anoka playing right field tonight for the Jarvis Travellers. He's been a mainstay out there. He's been in a couple of different spots in the order, back up to the 2 spot where he started earlier in the week. Donnie Scott misses down and in, so 2-0 on young Ben Anoka, and Donnie falling behind the youngster here, worked ahead of Turkelson. This one is lifted out of play, foul. And again, a lot of noise from that Jarvis bench every pitch. Standing on deck is Nick Shales. Slow start to the tournament, but he's rounding into form. Had 3 hits in that losers bracket final. Just want to remind everybody that this game is also being simulcast in Spanish through Softball Radio. One hopper into the glove of Ite. Flip to first for the out. Very quickly, 2 down here for Jarvis in the top of the first inning. Again, if you're just joining us here on ISC TV, I'm Blair Setford with Kyle Smith. The Kitchener Rivershark Twins, the home team, very quickly get Fred Turkelson on a grounder to second and Ben Anoka on a tapper to third. So that brings up Nick Shales, and if you've been with us all week, you know that Nick Shales started this tournament slowly. Took him a while to get his legs under him, but he's found them now. The leading hitter here in the ISC over the last 5 years with about a .440 average coming into this 2010 ISC World Tournament. Skied back. We might have a shot at this. Patty Shannon's going to have a shot at it and takes a grab over Blair Ezekiel. So some good defense there by Pat Shannon, and now he's going to have a word with Blair Ezekiel saying, look, mate, I've got that one. So a good inning for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins in the top of the first, nothing across for the Jarvis Travellers. And heading into the home of the first inning, it will be for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. No surprise, Ryan Wolf at the top of the order. Brad Ezekiel to be followed by Jeff Goolagong. The same three they've gone with all week long at the top of the shop.
Yeah, the spark plugs for this Rivershark Twin unit is those three guys at the top. Wolf, Ezekiel, Goolagong. Then Patty Shannon in the 4-hole. Jody Ite will bat 5th and play third base. Blair Ezekiel, the first baseman, bats 6th. Robbie Gray, the designated player, will bat 7th. Batting 8th, Darryl Joy out in right field. Blake Miller bats in the 9-hole, and as he will play over at second base, Donnie Scott not batting, but working on the mound, of course, as he will come set and get ready for his next opportunity on the mound. The umpires, as Blair was saying, from Caledonia, Michigan, Steve Jonke over on the left field line. Right field from North Carolina, Randy McLamp. At third base from Saginaw, Michigan, the veteran of the ISC, Rick Havercroft. At first base from Assiniboia, Saskatchewan, Canada,
well done,
Brent Chadwick. And at home plate from Wellington, New Zealand, Wermu Tamaki.
So Weremu Tamaki, who worked the gold medal game in the 2008 Olympics from Beijing, now working the plate here in the 2010 ISC World Championship game.
And it's a big feather for him as he's one of those international recruitments as he comes over from New Zealand on the exchange program. So he has earned this through the week, and it's a well-deserved assignment for Weremu. And we'll set the defense for the Jarvis Travellers. Nick Shales out in left field. Freddie Turkelson and Benny Noka in center and right field. Brad Rona plays third base. Ian Fairman will play short. Brandon Horn, the second baseman. Timmy McCumber will play first. Trevor Ethier gets the start of the mound, and calling the signals, Sean O'Brien. The sun peeks out from behind a cloud as it has for the most part of this week. First pitch goes up and away as we're underway in the bottom of the first inning. O'Brien can't handle.
My guess is here, Kyle, for the Jarvis Travellers, you go with Trevor Ethier as long as you can and hope that he keeps this Kitchener offensive juggernaut at bay and try and get in as deep into the game as possible before you have to go to Adam Falkert.
Oh, absolutely. You try and get as much as you can out of Ethier, and then you turn the ball over to Adam if he's even available. He was exhausted by the end of the losers bracket final. So we'll have to wait to see if we see Adam come out here later on to warm up. It's a 2-1 count to the leadoff man, Ryan Wolf. As that one misses down and away. Trevor Ethier falls behind 3-1, so a hitter's count here for Wolfie at the plate. As Ethier offers, just misses for ball 4, so put the leadoff man on with the base on balls pass. And Brad Ezekiel now will come to the plate. Last night, it was all Kitchener against the New York Gremlins in the winter bracket final, with Kitchener unleashing an offensive attack that we haven't seen in quite some time from these boys as the bunt gets down. McCumber up with it, over to Horn, covering at first base, 3-4 for the first out of the inning. Good play by McCumber coming in and the cover by Brandon Horn. So sacrifice bunt for Brad Ezekiel.
Well, Kitchener came out with like a house on fire last night. They plated 3 in the first, 6 more in the second, and just absolutely ran away from the New York Gremlins.
So as Trevor Ethier looks in towards Sean O'Brien, he'll run through the signals. Ryan Wolf out at second. Goolagong, he takes down and away for ball 1. Just underway in the bottom of the first inning. You haven't missed anything as Jarvis went down in order. Donnie Scott with the start for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins as they eye a bit of history in the books. Now and again misses down and away. Trevor Ethier falls behind 2-0.
And Wiramu Tamaki worked the plate in that 10-inning game that the Kitchener Rivershark Twins had with the Chicago, New York squad. So they know his strike zone.
As Ethier winds and deals. That one just misses. O'Brien holds it a little bit longer, maybe to frame it up for the home plate umpire. 3-0 the count as Ethier falls behind. On verge of putting another man on by way of free pass. As we see some movement, it's going to be Andrew Phibbs going to warm up Blair. As that one falls in for strike 1.
Well, Phibbs worked a very nervous 10th inning. He actually came on in about the 8th and got the win in relief for Jarvis over New York, but it was a pretty nervous bottom of the 10th.
Swung on and fouled back by Goolagong. Just missed that one as he swung through it.
The Travelers went into that 10th inning with a 5-2 lead. He put a man aboard, and then Jeremy Tracy smacked one off the light standard out in right field. Made it 5-4.
So the count runs 3 balls and 2 strikes with 1 down. Ryan Wolf stationed out at second base. Patrick Shannon in the on-deck circle. Ethier winds, deals. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Down on strikes goes Goolagong. So 2 down in the inning with strikeout number 1 to Trevor Ethier. And Patrick Shannon now comes to the plate.
And it looked like he took something off of that pitch as Goolagong just a touch out in front.
Trevor Ethier slow to the mound. As Ethier deals. That one up and away. As Ethier looks in, Patrick Shannon opens wide up to the third base side. Sets, deals, big swing and a miss from Patrick as he just misses that one. It's all or nothing with Patty Shannon at the plate. The big hooping swing coming through the strike zone.
Well, and we've seen the swing, perhaps not the stance, but certainly that looping swing emulated by a number of guys here in the ISC is Nick Shales. When you watch his swing, it's that big uppercut as well.
So as the conversation takes place on the mound and breaks, the count runs 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. Ryan Wolf stranded out at second base, would like to come on home. As that one right down on the corner for strike 2 from Ethier. Game 141, the final. There is no tomorrow as the champion gets declared tonight. Ethier sets, fires. Swing and a miss on the rise. Good pitch from Trevor as Shannon goes chasing. And down on strikes, leaving a man stranded out at second base. We'll head to the top of the second inning. You're watching 2010, the ISC World Tournament, right here on ISC TV.
Well, So Ethier gets away with one as they walk the leadoff guy in Wolf, and the stat of the week here that we've had, Kyle, is that leadoff walks come around 68% of the time, courtesy Joe Todd and the Baseball Almanac. Wolf getting up to second on the sack by Brad Ezekiel, but two big Ks of Goolagong and Shannon, and Trevor Ethier out of the inning.
Well, a good job by Etzi to bear down and come after the big boys in the lineup, Goolagong and Shannon. Can't get anything started against Trevor Ethier. So it'll be Rona, Fairman, and Horn coming to the plate. The big boppers, if you will, for the Jarvis Travellers.
Well, Horn has quietly gotten into this lineup and has done a really good job there. Has hit the ball well. He had a key RBI in the victory over Chicago earlier today, scoring what would turn out to be the go-ahead run in the 8th inning. Jarvis would tack on an insurance run to win 6-4. And Don Scott getting the start here. Todd Martin got a game early in the week against the Elmira Expos. That was the last we saw of Todd Martin. Came out of that game complaining of some pain in his neck area. It turns out that he has a dislocation of a muscle coming off of the collarbone in his right pitching arm.
So, and with your ace of the staff, maybe Todd Martin going down, Donnie Scott and Grant Patterson have come out and thrown well, very well, all week long.
Called strike on Brad Rona, evens the count at 1-1. And missing up high is Don Scott. So now 2-1 on the big cleanup hitter. And now 3-1 as both pitchers falling behind some of these batters early, and not recommended with the guys who can turn on a ball in these lineups.
No, absolutely not. These are the guys that you have to come right after and try to work ahead to, as when you have to come to them, makes their job a lot easier.
Rona fouls this one back into the screen, and Rona had a home run very early in the tournament in the Toronto game, and I'm not sure, Kyle, that he's had one since.
Nope, just one coming into this one, as he has in a homer slump, but going into the last game, the loser bracket final, was hitting .500 for the tournament, 4 for 8.
And this one misses down and in, so a walk to Brad Rona. And we'll see if Kitchener is able to avoid the curse of the dreaded leadoff walk. Fairman had the big Britton Bryant in the new top of the 10th inning, and that put Jarvis out in front at the time, 5-2. The margin of victory was 5-4 as New York was able to get 2 back and had a runner on base. Big swing and a miss, and the cleanup batter at the plate at the time for New York, but getting them out of it was Andrew Phibbs.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ian Fairman swings and misses right through it, and a big heavy swing puts him to one knee. So got one thing on his mind.
Well, he turns to bunt this time. And at times we've seen small ball from both of these teams. You saw the bunt early from Kitchener, but both teams, again, going the other direction when it gets late in the games and not electing to play small ball.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part as we've made our way through this week. There's been very good opportunities to play that small ball game, move runners around, but electing not to.
As there's a big cut, a swing and a miss. Down goes Ian Fairman, chasing that Donnie Scott rise ball up and out of the zone. That brings up Brandon Horn, the second baseman. And when you go from Rona and Fairman to Horn, there's a bit of a size difference. A little bit smaller zone for Donnie Scott to work to here with Brandon Horn. And it's no slight against Horn. He's a real good stick. As he lifts this one out to left field, retreating back for it as Brad Ezekiel makes the catch and brings it back and holds Rona to first base.
Well, good swing by Brandon Horn right on top of it. Just got under it a little too much and raised her up into the high sky here.
So that's going to bring up Rob O'Brien. O'Brien just got his first hit of the tournament in the last game. That came in the 9th inning, I think, of that affair. So Robbie's had a rough week here for Jarvis. Been in and out of the lineup all week. And there's a called strike in that outside corner, and Kyle, we can put that one on a loop. That one has been a recurring theme here this week as to the corners of the plate. And a lot of the pitchers, almost all of the pitchers for that matter, working to the outside corner as you see Shannon creep outside.
And that's where they're trying to find the limit of where Mutamaki, the home plate umpire, is. How far does that corner grow as they pop to the outside? Well, for the most part, last night it seemed it was half a ball, maybe to a ball width on the black.
On the move is Rona, the throw down, and they got him at second base. So Brad Rona caught stealing, gunned down by his countryman, Pat Shannon. And for the Jarvis Travellers, they strand the walk. And heading into the home half of the second inning, still scoreless between Jarvis and Kitchener.
Well, good sharp throw by Patrick Shannon. They were going to the outside edge and not allowed Pat to clear those hips and not worry about the left-handed hitting of the batter at the plate, and threw a strike down to second. Almost as if when Goolagong came across, Rona slid right into it. So it's a 3 up and down, but leave the man stranded at the plate, as Robbie O'Brien will start things off for the Jarvis Travellers. Good entertaining start to this ISC final, the championship game of the 2010 tournament. It's our privilege to bring it to you here, as if you're not able to come to the ballpark comes to you. Very large crowd starting to fill out here, Blair, whether it be the youth tournament teams or Legends teams or just the faithful fan base here in Midland, Michigan that have been here all week long. Going to take in this last game as that high fly ball. Brad Rona gives chase and will rest to the piece on the left-hand side into the stanchions. Ball comes right back in, and we'll head back to Trevor Ethier. I'm sure we've seen a lot of balls go in and out of play, but it seems when the pitchers find that one they like, they'll generally waste a little time in trying to get it back from out of play. So Ethier rocks. That one put out to left field. It's going to fall in, just foul. Down the third base side, Ait was hooking it. More of a slice as it trailed in, and it just lands on the foul side. So 0-2 to the all-world hitter, Jody Ait.
Well, Jody Ait's been working on his golf game and trying to get the slice out of his golf game, and he sliced that one foul down the left side.
That one just misses from Trevor Ethier. Trying to pick that outside corner, as did Donnie Scott. To no avail, as Jody Ait now with the 1-2 count. Ethier comes with it, crosses up Sean O'Brien and missing. Sean wasn't expecting what he got. You could tell by the awkwardness of how he received that ball. So Jody works a 2-2 count. Leadoff man at the plate here in the second. Lets that one go, and it's called. Strike 3. Jody in disbelief as he stands there. And still standing there as now Jody will walk away.
Third strikeout of the game for Trevor Ethier, even if Jody Ait doesn't want to believe it.
So we found the bottom of the zone with Weremu Tamaki. Now Blair Ezekiel comes to the plate as Ethier deals. Right field, in comes Inoka and calls off Brandon Horn as they come chest to chest. So 2 down. So a little miscommunication on both teams, as maybe a little bit more adrenaline pumping through as we're in the early stages of the championship ball game.
Well, that's the play for the infielder to go back as far as he can until he hears the outfielder call him off. And at the last second, I heard Inoka yell, "I go."
So with 2 down, Ethier sweeps across and deals that one into the dirt. Skips away from Sean O'Brien. Robbie Gray comes to the plate, the designated player tonight. Robbie is simply known as a pure hitter in the game. He really couldn't get anybody else to do a better job at the DP spot, as that one comes in for strike 1.
Well, once again, there's that outside corner. It was a bit of a bone of contention in the Jarvis, New York game as to how far it got out.
And Robbie fouls that one off at the plate to take the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
But quite honestly, we thought Lou Davis did an outstanding job of keeping that ball right on the corner of the plate. If it was outside that, it was a ball. If it was inside that, it was a strike. And there were a lot of guys who just couldn't get the bat off the shoulder, even 0-2, unwilling to protect. As Gray swings through a great rise ball from Ethier, and another 2 strikeouts on the inning to add to the 2 in the first. 4 of them through 2 complete were scoreless. Nothing's across the scoreboard heading into the top of the 3rd inning for the Jarvis Travellers. It will be Rob O'Brien, Tim McCumber, and Sean O'Brien.
Well, as you head to the bottom of the order, things may be going to get a little bit tighter. And Jody Ite is talking with the home plate umpire and pointing.
Well, he's doing a little bit more than talking with. He's talking to. Weremu Tamaki is going to let him have his say for now, but I don't imagine he's going to put up with that for too long.
No, absolutely. As Bob Nidick creeps in a little bit more, maybe to try and get a hold of Jody and see if he can't get his third baseman to simmer down a little bit, come off the boil. Blair, we want to say thanks to Corbett Source for Sports for all your team uniform and equipment needs, fastball, slow pitch, or hockey. For players and teams, make sure you visit Corbett Source for Sports on the South Service Road in Oakville, Ontario. There's lots of deals to be had on all kinds of equipment. Tell them you saw it on ISC TV. Thank you to Paul Hurd and Corbett's Source for Sports for their generous sponsorship of the ISC broadcast program right here on ISC TV.
Well, you just had a look at how that crowd here is building in Curry Stadium in Midland, Michigan for this championship game as Rob O'Brien takes a strike on that outside corner. Thanks to our cameraman, Mike Betts, for getting us that shot. Mike is stationed out on the third base line now. Jerry Betts out in center field. Does great work with that center field camera. And then we have the stationary one in behind home plate. So 1-1 on Rob O'Brien here in the top of the 3rd inning. Still no score between Jarvis and Kitchener. There is now. No, that one's not going to make it. It's off the fence on a hop as Rob O'Brien chugs into second base with just his 2nd hit of the tournament. This one a solid double out to right center.
Well, he saw all that from Donnie Scott and more as he laced it out into right center field. So put O'Brien out at second base with the first hit of the ball game for either team. Now Timmy McCumber will come to the plate as he tries to bring in the game's first run.
And Scott works outside off the plate, leading off to Tim McCumber with a runner in scoring position. A leadoff double by Rob O'Brien. And again, ball 2 off that plate. Absolutely no life in the flags, so no breeze here on the diamond. We had a little drop of rain that went through about 10 minutes before start time. Just enough to wet the diamond a little bit more. This one is lifted foul, out of play by McCumber, maybe chasing out of the zone. So 2 balls and a strike on T-Mac. He's the 8th guy in the Jarvis order. And chases another one that looked like it was off the plate, Kyle, for strike 2.
Well, and you can see McCumber being upset with himself after going chasing, so he realizes that he needs to bring it back up to him instead of giving Donnie Scott easy outs.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tim McCumber. And fouls this one off at the plate, and again having to go out and reach for it is Tim McCumber. The pitchers have really gone to school on the umpires here this week. There haven't been a lot of calls inside, but that outside corner is there if you want it. Rob O'Brien on board with a leadoff double. Tim McCumber looking to bring him around. Chopper out to Goolagong. He chases O'Brien back to the bag and then throws out Tim McCumber, and a little bit of a signal there from Rob O'Brien as he went to the helmet right before that pitch was thrown. Did the helmet adjustment as if to say to Timmy McCumber, it's coming up. And now the Jarvis or the Kitchener boys are going to come out and talk about it, as I'm sure Pat Shannon, the sharp-eyed Pat Shannon, picked that up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the interesting play on that one was Goolagong ranging up through the middle, picks that up, and Robbie O'Brien almost got tagged out as Gooley was right beside him as he picked that ball up. So Robbie O'Brien almost get taken out, and then an easy double play would have happened, but O'Brien scampers back, 1 down in the inning.
So Sean O'Brien, who was red hot in that loser's bracket final, 3 for 4, and again he adjusts the helmet, and again the pitch is up. So some definite sign stealing going on, and now Goolagong is going to come in and talk to Donnie Scott. You see Robbie O'Brien in your camera there. Watch and see if he goes to the helmet. Nothing this time. It's a drop, and it's fouled off at the plate.
And now Goolagong wants Pat Shannon to come out, maybe to talk about just that, because Robbie O'Brien did not move on that last pitch, so maybe that's the indication.
Well, I just about guarantee you that's what they're out talking about. It's not dinner plans this time. It's a little bit of gamesmanship here as the veteran Robbie O'Brien tipping his brother.
Rob and Ryan Wolf share a few words with one another.
Well, and he did something different that time. He went to the side of the helmet rather than the top. That one missed inside, and maybe that was the signal that they were coming inside. So Sean O'Brien and Pat Shannon are having a couple of words, but it didn't seem to be too serious. Swing and a miss. And again, we're going to have another conference out here as got to figure out what's going to work for Scott and Shannon, whether it's going to be the second signal, the third, where they're going to go for location. Is it same side, opposite side? All kinds of games within games here, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the premier players in this ball game involved.
And this one misses just inside to Sean O'Brien. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to the 9 batter. And Goolagong again out to talk to Scott. Laced out into left field. Here comes Rob O'Brien. Here's the throw. The play at the plate. Oh, Shannon had him, and he dropped it. He was dead on arrival, and I think it might have hit Rob O'Brien in the foot. Before it even got to Shannon, it popped up in the air. I think it hit Rob O'Brien in the foot. He was going to be dead on arrival, and he gets a lucky break.
So Sean O'Brien gets an RBI double and put a run up on the board. And now I think we might see a pinch runner. Yes, we will, Blair. Will Fairman will come out to do some pinch running for Sean, as we have seen throughout this week. So a great throw from Ezekiel, just unfortunately for the Rivershark Twins. Catches a piece of Robbie O'Brien coming home, and the ball pops up away from Pat Shannon.
Well, I think that Robbie O'Brien knew that he was going to be way out at the plate and just decided not to even slide, as Shannon had him cold, and he gets the break here, and the first one goes to Jarvis as we're back to the top of the shop for Fred Turkelson. So Fairman on to run out at second base, and we'll see if there's any more pitch tipping going on from Will Fairman. Big cut by the Great Dane. Ball and a strike now to Turkelson.
The Jarvis Travellers are in this ball game after every pitch. There's a lot of noise coming from the bench area, so these boys are here, and they're here to make a lot of noise and try to get on top of Donnie Scott.
That one misses up, so 2-1, and Donnie falling behind some of these Jarvis batters. This one is laced past a diving Ezekiel. Here comes Fairman. There'll be no play this time. And the Jarvis Travellers out on top, 2-0 here in the third inning. As it's the bottom of the order, Rob O'Brien a double, scores on a double by his brother. And then Will Fairman running comes around on a single by Turkelson.
Well, and Turkelson just stayed with that pitch, turned that top hand over, drove it through the gap, and out into right field, scoring the second run of the ball game. So 2-0 lead, and Grant Patterson starting to warm a little quicker down in the bullpen.
Well, I don't know how much longer you go with Donnie Scott. They're now getting their second look at him. It's Ben Anoka. Tapper back to Ite last time. This one to Miller for one, over to first for two. Double play for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. They're out of the inning, 4-6-3. But for the Jarvis Travellers, they scored 2 runs on 3 hits, and they take a 2-0 lead into the home half of the third.
Well, just like that, they jump on top, they put some runners on, and they take advantage of the opportunity given to them by having those runners in scoring position. They put the ball in play, those runners come home, and had it not been for Robbie O'Brien's foot getting in the way, Brad Ezekiel would have had a pinpoint throw to take him out to cut down the run, but the bounce goes the way of the Jarvis Travellers, and the momentum currently with the Travellers as Sean O'Brien will re-enter the ball game.
Well, the first big break, as you said, goes to the Travellers. We'll see how the Kitchener Riversharks respond. They've been down before. This isn't like it's the first time that they've traveled.
No, absolutely not. They've come from behind the time before, as Daryl Joy will lead things off. We come towards the bottom of the batting order, that being Joy and Miller. Miller finds himself back in the 9 spot, as he has been so accustomed to this season. Just this week was placed up into the 7 hole, but Blake, I think you'll find more comfortable down in the 9 spot, as Joy steps out as he's got something in his eye. Now back with it as Ethier. He'll get ready to work. Took a bit off and misses for ball 1. Straight up in the outfield on that worn down patches of grass on the green outfield, as Ethier comes and fires for strike 1 at the belt. So a quick 1-1 count here to Daryl Joy, the 8-hitter. As Ethier again takes a bit off, and that one stroked right back up to the left of Ian Fairman. So a single to Daryl Joy starts the Kitchener Rivershark attack. Blake Miller now will come to the plate. We're in the bottom of the third inning. We're glad you've tuned us in here on ISC TV. As Trevor Ethier now wants to exchange the ball with the home plate umpire, Weremu Tamaki. Tries to find that one that he likes. So as we get set now, Joy out at first base. Turns to bunt as Miller runs right through it for a strike. Again, Jody Ite from the bench has a few extra words. So getting right on top of the home plate umpire for the size of the strike zone. As Ethier again, pickoff down, not in time. Sneaking in behind the runner was Ezekiel. We saw that the other night with Sean O'Brien and Nick Shales. It worked to perfection, but not this time as Joy got back in head first. Bunting again as that one gets fouled off and trickles through the wickets of Sean O'Brien. Count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trevor Ethier winds, deals, stroked out to right center field. In diving the Davey, dropped it. That falls in for a base hit, getting back in quickly, and he's safe. At second is Daryl Joy. Turkelson dove an all or nothing. Got it in his glove, and as he came down, it jumped out. So put runners on first and second and nobody down. Ryan Wolf comes to the plate.
Kyle, just while we have a moment here, we want to congratulate the Scarborough champion Indians 6-0 to win the under-19 tournament over the Oshawa Double B Midgets. Stratford Memorial Midgets finished third in this one. The most valuable player, Caleb Keeshing, was Scarborough. Outstanding hitter, Brandon Parks from Oshawa. And the MVP and the RBI leader is Travis Jones from Scarborough. Congratulations to the Scarborough champion Indians.
That one misses to Ryan Wolf as it goes for ball 1. Andrew Phibbs continues to throw down in the bullpen. Ethier comes inside and misses for ball 2. 2-0 the count. Joy and Miller, second and first. Ethier deals. Just misses on Ryan Wolf, so the count runs 3-0. Trevor into the wind. Comes on top for strike 1. Taking all the way was Ryan Wolf. Wolfie got a slow start to his 2010 tournament, but has come on strong from about the third game on, and that one right back through the box. Daryl Joy, he'll get the wave around. Turkelson just to the second baseman, Brandon Horn, and make it a 2-1 ball game. An RBI single for Ryan Wolf, and will bring to the plate Brad Ezekiel. Still nobody down in the inning.
3 straight hits for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins here in the bottom of the third inning as they answer back to the Jarvis top of the third. And now we're going to meeting out in the mound.
Steve Kuzer will hold court on the pitcher's mound as Andrew Phibbs is starting to throw a bit harder down the first base line.
Well, Ryan Wolf, as he almost inevitably does, comes through at clutch time. A hard single right back up the middle.
And you can see Steve Kuzer just gave a sign to Chad Stats to tell Andrew Phibbs to get going because he gave a thumbs up down to find out if he was ready. Stats responded no, and he immediately forfeited and said, let's get it going. You're coming in soon, big fella. Ethier sets, just misses at the knees for ball one. Brad Ezekiel, the sacrifice bunt back in the first inning. No sign of bunt on the first one. Now as Ethier sweeps across. Turns to bunt. Ezekiel gets it down. A good one. On the tag, McCumber. 3 unassisted. But he does the job again, sacrificing. Puts 2 runners in scoring position.
2 sack bunts out of Brad Ezekiel. That's what you want out of your 2 guy. It means your leadoff batter is on base, and he does the job exactly as he's supposed to do. Runners in scoring position, a pair of them for Jeff Goolagong, and the opportunity here to tie the score and perhaps put Kitchener out in front.
Well, Goolagong will look to rip one. With the speed that Wolf has, you would think Lynch will give him the wave around as that one goes for strike 1, and Goolagong gives a little bit of a head tilt. Maybe nods in agreement now. So Ethier finds himself up 0-1. Trevor looks in, comes set. Just misses. Off the plate. 1-1. Now you have to wonder, Blair, we talked about how long do you go with Donnie Scott. How long do you stay with Trevor Ethier in this situation? As Eatsy winds, deals. Outside of the zone for a 2-1 count.
Well, Ethier worked 5 and a bit in the New York game. So out of he and Falkert, he'd be the fresher of the 2.
Well, it's Trevor. Fires that one into the dirt for ball 3. 3-1 to count. And he falls behind another one in grave danger of loading the bases for the 4-hitter, Pat Shannon.
Well, you talked about the Jarvis guys who were up on their feet earlier in their bench. Now the Kitchener guys, all of them at the screen.
Ethier looks deeply in towards Sean O'Brien. Gets what he wants. Offers ball 4 up and away. So Goolagong gets a free pass, and you can call him bases loaded, and Steve Kuzer will come out and call time, and already has the high sign out for Andrew Phibbs. So it'll be Phibbs who will get the call from the bullpen. As Trevor Ethier's night has come to an end. But don't close the book on him, as the bases still remain loaded and responsible to him. Andrew takes a few extra tosses down the first base side. Now he'll make his way towards the diamond. So Ethier goes 2 1/3. Gives up 1 run on 3 hits, but leaves with the bases loaded, and now Andrew Phibbs will come into the fire. And it is a raging one as the Rivershark Twins look to draw blood here in the bottom of the 3rd inning with the bases loaded. The AAU tournament is held each and every year on the 3rd weekend in January at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. The AAU tournament features teams from the U.S., Canada, and all across the Caribbean, as well as South and Central America. For a terrific fastball experience, make sure you contact Alex Linares through the AAU tournament website at aausports.org. Thank you to the AAU tournament for their generous sponsorship of the ISC broadcast program right here on ISC TV.
We also want to thank StockPack for all of your packaging needs. You need StockPack, based in Ashland, Ohio. StockPack is your international one-stop provider for innovative ideas and core packaging solutions. Make sure that you visit StockPackStore.com for a list of products and services. StockPack, the source for all of your packaging needs. And we want to thank Chad Honecker, who helped us out on the broadcast here this week, as well as StockPack for their support on the broadcast here this week.
So Andrew Phibbs will gets set to conclude his warm-ups. And already, Blair, they've got Adam Folkard throwing down the line.
Well, again, Kyle, as you talked about, it's all or nothing here. You don't want to leave anything in the tank. Don't wake up tomorrow morning thinking, geez, if we'd only done this or if we'd only done that.
No, you're absolutely right. Today is the day to leave it all on the floor, and the opportunity, Andrew Phibbs comes in. As you said before, he worked in that winter bracket final game against the New York Gremlins.
Worked about 3.5 innings, came on in a spot of trouble, and managed to get Jarvis out of the inning. He did well to do it, as Tim McCumber is also down throwing for the Jarvis Travellers, as I just don't know what Andrew Folkard has left to give. I really don't. He threw a few pitches and then just begged off.
Well, and Folkard is, like you said, stopped throwing down there. It's now Timmy McCumber, so Robbie O'Brien comes into the ball game as the defensive player now, with that DP flex rule in play. The opportunity lies there for them to make this happen. So that one handcuffs Sean O'Brien on the first pitch from Andrew Phibbs.
Well, a slightly different look for Phibbs than from Trevor Ethier. Phibbs is going to work mostly down.
That one into the dirt for ball two. Very disciplined at the plate is Patrick Shannon, as he's worked his favor, a 2-0 count.
Well, Phibbs is equally got to be disciplined here. You can't give in to Patty Shannon and groove one trying to get a strike.
Well, as Andrew looks in, he'll come right down the middle, and Shannon takes all the way, just as you said.
So much for that theory. I don't think that's a pitch he wants to repeat.
2-1 count. As Shannon comes in, he'll open himself wide up. Bases loaded as Ethier works. Comes inside. Just misses, does Andrew Phibbs. Patty Shannon turns away from that one. A 3-1 count in favor of the New Zealand catcher. Phibbs to the wind. Deals. Drops that one in for strike two, and Shannon upset at himself as he turns away.
I'm not sure whether Patty's having difficulty picking up the ball, but he certainly seems to be having difficulty pulling the trigger on Phibbs.
So as Andrew works a 3-2 count, the big delay between pitches, as now he'll deal. Call, strike three. Shannon tries to bend. Home plate umpire doesn't go for it, and caught looking is Patty Shannon.
Well, there's a lot of Kitchener supporters here in the crowd, but I think there's an equal amount of Jarvis supporters at Phibbs. It's a resounding cheer for that strikeout.
And now Jody Ite comes to the plate, as he struck out looking back in the second inning. Maybe the factor there, the long pause that Andrew is offering. Quickly deals on the corner for called strike one.
Well, Sean O'Brien ducked out at the absolute last second to set up outside, not wanting to give anything away to Jody or to
Ryan Wolf.
Wolf out at second base.
Andrew sets. Jody puts that high into the air. Out goes Fairman, and he'll make the grab. Leave the bases loaded, as Shannon and Ite can't pull the trigger. We'll head to the top half of the fourth inning.
Well, they get one back, but they leave the bases loaded, and they're going to look at that as a squandered opportunity as Don Scott comes out here to work the top of the fourth inning for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. Darryl Joy, who singled leading things off, he came around on the RBI single by Ryan Wolf. But your 4 and 5 guys, Shannon and Ite, who between them have multiple MVP awards, and they can't get the job done. Congratulations there to Phibbs, Andrew Phibbs, as he comes in and slams the door shut.
Yeah, absolutely. Come in a tough spot with only one down in the inning. Gets two big strikeouts to end the threat. And now Donnie Scott comes out trying to keep the Jarvis Travellers at bay and keep this a 2-1 ball game.
Well, Scott is going to work to Shales, Rona, and Fairman 3, 4, 5. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the order of the ISS from last year. And Shales, who popped up to Shannon at the screen his first trip, has been getting into that groove. He's been hitting the ball a lot better of late as this tournament has gotten closer to the culmination. Had a notion to chase that one, but it's ball one. Big Brad Rona awaits on deck. There's a called strike. We're into the top of the fourth, the middle innings. Jarvis out in front, 2-1. 3 hits apiece on the board. And this one is skied out of play behind us. Some clouds off in the distance, but they're going the other way. It looks like bright skies coming in from behind. So 0-2, 1-2, I believe, on Shales. Swing and a miss, or a foul back rather, as this one goes back to the screen. Scoreboard says 0-2, but I'm pretty sure, Kyle, the first pitch, there it is, now comes up as a ball. So 1-2 on Nick Shales. And this one on a line out to left, Ezekiel gathers that in as he had to move a step to his right to make that catch.
Almost had Shales played to perfection. Barely had to move to make that grab. So now Brad Rona comes to the plate.
Rona walked in the second and then caught stealing on a peg from his countryman, Pat Shannon. Way at the back of that right side box. This one is fouled off at the plate.
So as Rona steps back into the box, he looks to start this offensive power.
Called strike from Don Scott. So 0-2 on Brad Rona, not even going to leave the box. He's ready to go right now, wants the pitch to come in. Scott is going to wander around behind the mound a little bit.
Scotty humped that one over on the off-speed change.
And this one into the glove, booted by Ite, still got time to throw, it's high. Ezekiel gathers it in, and Jody Ite showing some stick-to-itiveness there, Kyle. As that ball threatened to be booted, but Ite stuck to it and throws out his counterpart, Brad Rona.
Yeah, absolutely. A great job by Jody. Knocked that ball down and stuck with it. Picked it up. Almost fell over at the same time. Had to regain his balance and fire a strike. It was high, but a good glove by Blair Ezekiel. So
Fairman, again, he's the reason Jarvis is here. He and Andrew Phibbs really are the reasons they're here. Fairman, a 3-run bomb off of Brian Newton. And then Andrew Phibbs shutting the door, not quite emphatically, but getting it closed. This one's up and in from Donnie to even the count at ones. There's a called strike. We're here in the fourth, the top of. Jarvis out in front, 2-1. They're the visitors. Scott to Fairman, just off that outside corner.
Donnie maybe starting that walk to the bench thinking that he'd get it.
Well, a good take there by Fairman, recognizing that was going to be off the plate, and then trusting where Mutsama's strike wasn't called to be. Big cut, swing and a miss. Down goes Ian Fairman. Down go the Jarvis Travellers in the fourth. Nothing across, heading into the home half for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins.
Back inside here at Curry Stadium. The leadoff single with Blair Ezekiel, the high bouncer over top of Brad Rona. And then a sacrifice bunt by Rob Gray gets the job and moves him 60 feet to second base. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We're back on the air and ready to fly. Andrew Phibbs, the man on the mound here for Jarvis Travellers. As Daryl Joy now comes to the plate, he had the single, came around and scored the lone run for the Rivershark Twins to this point. He'll call time and step out as something again gets in his eye.
Just press play in there. Okay, that's good. Just can you say that for audio?
As Ethier rocks that one on the corner for a strike. Phibbs. Want to encourage everybody just to reset and come back on.
If your video happens to be frozen, just hit play on your video player. That should reset your video player.
As Phibbs deals down and away to Daryl Joy. Rivershark Twins trail the Jarvis Travellers by a score of 2-1. As Andrew looks in towards home plate, comes and deals on the corner. Joy drops the bat. Snap throw down, not in time, as getting back in there was Blair Ezekiel. So a 1-2 count to the number 8 hitter, Daryl Joy. Blake Miller awaits his turn in the on-deck circle. Timmy McCumber continues to throw down in the bullpen for the Jarvis Travellers. As Andrew comes, swung on and missed, strike 3. Down on strikes goes Daryl Joy, 2 down in the inning. Strikeout number 2 for Andrew since coming in back in the 3rd inning.
Well, Tim McCumber continues to throw down that right side. No sign of Adam Falkard up and throwing whatsoever.
Phibbs stroked right field. That's going to fall right into the glove of Benny Noka. But a good hit right there by Blake Miller, as he got all of that one just on a line and right to the right fielder. So seeing the ball well in the 9 spot is Blake Miller. They strand the runner out at second base, and we'll head to the top of the 5th inning. You're watching the 2010 ISC World Tournament on ISC TV. There are bats, and then there are combats. Constructed of the state-of-the-art composite materials, combats provide the power, the performance, and the feel that you're looking for. Combats, for players, by players. Find us on the web at combatsportsgroup.com. ISC TV, we want to thank Combat Sports for their generous sponsorship of the ISC broadcast program, and also we'll be presenting a combat to the leading hitter of the ISC World Tournament later on tonight.
I have no idea who that might be. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it could be Robbie Schweier. It could be Brad Rona if he was hitting 500 coming into this.
Well, the only thing at that time coming into the winter bracket final was he didn't have enough plate appearances to qualify.
This one, a one-hopper by Brandon Horn and thrown out at first by Jeff Goolagong. Good piece again by young Brandon, but this one right into the glove of Jeff Goolagong for the first out of the top of the 5th.
So Robbie O'Brien, who collected his second hit of the tournament, that double back in the third when they scored their 2 runs. Robbie and Sean came around and scored. Actually, it was Will Fairman in the pinch hitting role, but it was Sean who drove in Rob, and then Turkelson who drove in Will Fairman.
Well, it's been the O'Brien brothers show, as you suggested. Swing and a miss by Robbie. It took Robbie a while to get on track. Sean was on fire in that loser's bracket final with 3 hits in that one. And McCumber is going to take a break from warming up and come down to resume his plate appearances, as he stands in the on-deck circle. O'Brien, a long time to get back into that box. And this one is lifted out to left field. Coming across is Brad Ezekiel to make the catch for the second out of the inning. Routine fly ball for Brad Ezekiel.
But a good piece of hitting right there by O'Brien. Had a good stroke on it, put it out to left center field. So he's starting to see the ball well here on the final day of the tournament.
Yeah, those were balls that he was just fouling back into the screen earlier in the week, and now getting a good chunk of it. As McCumber looks at one off the plate for a ball. And Goolagong has just worn a path in to talk to Donnie Scott practically after every pitch. And a chopper up the middle that goes in between Goolagong and Miller. So Tim McCumber does his job as the 8th batter. He's going to allow that batting order to turn over at least for the next inning as he brings the 9-man Sean O'Brien to the plate here in the 5th.
Well, a good piece right there by Timmy McCumber. Got on top of it and drove it into the ground, a high hopper that bounces over top of Donnie Scott and out towards center field. So a 2-out single keeps this inning alive, and like you said, the 9-hitter, and maybe one of the hottest guys going right now, Sean O'Brien to the plate.
O'Brien has an RBI already in this game. And now even 4 hits apiece as we're into the top of the 5th inning. Missing up and in is Donnie Scott. Grant Patterson continues to play a little bit of soft toss down in the bullpen. He's been down there the whole game, as this has been the pattern for the Rivershark Twins. Donnie starts, Grant closes. This one is skied out of play. The ball and a strike on the 9-batter for Sean O'Brien. Fred Turkelson waits on deck. He has an RBI in this game, also in the 3rd inning. Jarvis out in front, 2-1 over Kitchener. Swing and a miss by Sean O'Brien. I think Sean thought that was 3 as he was almost headed to the bench there. Thought we were getting lightning, but it's Al Doran taking surprise pictures of us. Very good. Hope to see that one on Facebook. And that one's fouled out of play. We've had some black clouds kind of around us here, and all of a sudden there was flashes in the booth. Thought we were getting a storm about to break on top of us.
Just looking at the radar, though, Blair, nothing really around us now as everything sort of moved down to the south towards Flint.
Well, Flint, I'm sorry, but you can have it. We got a ball tournament to finish. O'Brien jackknifes at the plate to get out of the way of that one. And a Toronto Maple Leaf jersey in the crowd. You can see it just going from the left to the right in behind the batter there, as O'Brien right into the glove of Jody Ite for the 3rd out of the inning. So a couple of hard hit balls by the O'Brien brothers, but both of them fine leather Tim McCumber chops one for a single. He's stranded at first. And for the Jarvis Travellers, they strand one heading into the home half of the 5th inning for the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. It'll be Wolf, Brad Ezekiel, and Jeff Goolagong, the top of the shop for the Twins.
Well, we're in the same spot in both orders. The 9 hitters were the last outs made, and both 9 hitters hit the ball hard, but right to the defensive situation. So as we get ready for the bottom of the 5th inning, we want to thank Patriot Technologies as the trusted go-to source for comprehensive IT security solutions. Patriot's products and services include security tools, professional services, and security appliance manufacturing to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your corporate data. Patriot Technologies is a proud Fast Pitch sponsor, and ISC TV thanks Patriot for their generous sponsorship of the ISC broadcast program.
And Kyle, just while we're thanking people, we should thank some people who have done some excellent work up here in the booth with us all week, starting with Jim Flanagan, who had to leave early and attend to his real-life job back at the home office in Long Beach, hopefully tuning in with us. Lance Wynn, who's done fabulous work here all week, and you'll hear Lance again here in the booth, likely during the awards ceremony. Joe Todd, Bill Hillhouse, Derek Pukash, Kyle Bean, who's been up here this week, Chad Honecker, Jody Schnarr, doing some great stuff for us. Chris Bach, who brings us scores, Al Doran, who relays stuff over to us and does a great job helping us promote the broadcast here on ISC TV as well as on Ballpark Radio for the audio cast.
Phibbs puts that one into the dirt for ball one, and now it'll be Adam Fulkard who makes his way down. Looks to close this one out maybe later on tonight. As Andrew, off speed, swing and a miss by Ryan Wolf.
And I think if you are the Kitchener Rivershark Twins, you've got to be mindful of the fact that Fulkard is out there and you want to strike when you can and not have to mount a comeback against Fulkard.
Well, as that ball gets fouled off,
because he might not have been able to go all 7 tonight, but I'll bet he's got 1 inning left in him if he needs to come in and try and close this one down.
I would say so, as there's nothing left after today. Phibbs swung on, put out towards right center field. In comes Benny Noka to make the grab from right field, ranging over towards right center. Good hard hit ball by Ryan, but right to the right fielder. And Brad Ezekiel now will come to the plate.
Yeah, we've talked all week long about the Newfoundland products, as you see Harbor, Maine on your screen there, the home of Brad Ezekiel, of course, brother Blair. There's a younger brother, Kyle, who is apparently just as good, if not better, than these two, or will be at least. Mullally, Jason Hill, the original, Colin Abbott, Ward Goss, and I'm probably missing several others. We saw the young under-19 team up in Stratford who have got some young players, Shane Boland amongst them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the factory of Newfoundland as the count runs 1 ball and 1 strike.
Witten is another one from there. Daryl Joy, I believe, originally from Newfoundland.
Chopper, 2-bouncer, right into the gut of Ian Fairman and over to first base. So retire Brad Ezekiel on the 6-3. Jeff Goolagong now will come to the plate. Gooley, a walk and a strikeout tonight. So an 0-for-1 day thus far, as he will try and start this Rivershark attack. Phibbs on the plate for strike 1. As Andrew comes and deals. Rise up out of the zone for ball 1, 1-1. Andrew on in relief as he comes and deals. Chopped right back up through the middle. And out to the center fielder, Freddie Turkelson, coming over. So Patty Shannon now will come to the plate. Good hard hit ball by Jeff Goolagong. The Rivershark Twins have been on it. It's just been going right to the defense.
Well, good dive there, good effort by Brandon Horn, the full-out dive, but that one, he needed to be about a foot taller to get to that one. Shannon, a pair of Ks, one forward, one backward. He was frozen last time by Phibbs, unable to pull the trigger on anything. Spent a lot of time trying to sell pitches, I think, more than worrying about hitting them.
So as Phibbs tries and dries his hand off, down on the bottom of his pant leg, trying to find a dry spot to do that, he'll have to contend with Patty Shannon. Andrew deals, stroked, and right to Ian Fairman. First pitch Shannon saw, he was hacking. And a sure-handed play by Ian Fairman out at the shortstop hole will end the inning.
Well, you've talked about it, Kyle. You just said it. They've hit a lot of balls hard, but it's been right at the defense. And there's another one is on the backhand. Phibbs dealing to Pat Shannon, and it was, again, on the backhand. Ian Fairman snaring that hot shot. And for the Rivershark Twins, early is getting late. You don't want to leave it too much longer. You don't want to have to come in and try and get one or more against big Adam Falkert.
No, absolutely not. You want to try and strike here in the next inning, and I think as soon as you start to put some runners on bases, I think that's when you might see the big Aussie come into play. But for now, it's Andrew Phibbs on the mound, as he has come in on in relief of Trevor Ethier and has worked very sharp.
Okay, and right there on your screen, you see Ryan Wolf's parents as they are sitting down in the outfield right next to our cameraman, Jerry Bett. So I want to say hi to the Wolf family who are here, and for those who are maybe watching back at home in Glencoe, Ontario.
So to lead things off, it'll be 1, 2, 3 hitters. Turkelson, Inoka, and Shales as they come to the plate. Don Scott got the start tonight for the Rivershark Twins, as he has seen most of the ball at the beginning of the game. Grant Patterson has generally been the relief man since Todd Martin went down with that injury earlier this week. So Patterson down in the bullpen, continuing to stretch and get loose. Wants to be ready on a moment's notice should he be needed, as we play here in the top of the 6th inning. Donnie Scott will look in. Turkelson opens, missing for ball 1. Donnie again comes with it. High fly ball. In comes Ryan Wolf, settles under it, makes the grab for the first out of the inning.
So Ben Inoka, who grounded out to Jody Ite and then into a double play in the first and the third, respectively, up here in the 6th. Jarvis, I'm sure, would dearly love to tack on an insurance run against Donnie Scott, who's gone the distance for Kitchener. Pours in a strike to young Inoka. And this one misses at the top of the zone. Jarvis trails in the hit department, but they lead where it counts, 2-1 on the scoreboard. This one is hit on a line out to Brad Ezekiel. He trots in 2 steps, reels it in for the catch. And that quick 2 down, F8 and F7 on your scorecard at home. That'll bring up Nick Shales, hitless in 2 attempts here tonight, popping up to Patty Shannon to end the first, and then lining out to Ezekiel out and left back in the 4th. And that might be the insurance run. Well hit to center field. Deep. Gone. Nick Shales, a solo home run. Nick Shales got all of that offering from Don Scott just off the center field, just to the right field side of that scoreboard. And a big towering home run from the little guy from down under, Nick Shales. Rona tries to follow. Does it go? Gone! Back-to-back Jets! Shales, Rona, leave the yard. That's going to be it for Don Scott, as Kelly McGiffin is going to come out and get the ball. And what was a 2-1 lead, Jarvis nervously clinging to that 2-1 lead, now comfortably out in front, 4-1.
Yeah, absolutely. Two pitches right on top of the plate that he just absolutely stroked to right field, right center, and then right field did Nick Shales and Brad Rona. And Blair, it appears as though Donnie Scott is the horse that's going to run this race for the coaching staff of the Rivershark Twins.
Well, Patterson is throwing hard down in that dugout, but they're going to leave Donnie Scott in right now. And Ian Fairman has got the potential to make this 3. He's got a couple of Ks in his card so far. There's a called strike on the outside corner. It's been Australia. It's been New Zealand. Can Fairman make it Canada? The setup is outside. They get the call on that outside corner. Fairman doesn't like it. It's 0-2 with 2 out. All of this damage here, the back-to-back bombs with 2 out here in the 6th. And Fairman chops this one out to Miller at second. The flip to Ezekiel for the out. But the damage is done. 2 back-to-back jacks. Successive pitches. Rona and Shales in reverse order. And the Jarvis Travellers now out in front, 4-1.
Ball in for the Rivershark Twins. They just have to come back with a few at a time. Can't just win it on one swing. And that's what they have to keep in mind here as they get ready to come out here for the 6th inning. Is you aren't going to win this game on the bat of one man. It's going to take a team effort. And Jody Ite will start things off. An 0-for-2 day for Jody. And Andrew Phibbs will come back out to work this the bottom of the 6th inning. As all of a sudden the complexion of this game has changed from a nail-biter to a bit more breathing room for the Jarvis Travellers on the strength of those back-to-back home runs by Shales and Rona. They were no doubters when they hit the bat as they traveled out to right center and right field. So the Rivershark Twins have to muster up some gumption to make a run here should they want to attain the championship trophy.
Well, what was an opportunity to try and scratch for 1, now you've got to play for 3, and that's a lot taller order for this Kitchener squad. They can do it. They did it the other night against Chicago and Jeremy Manley. It's not a question of can they do it, but can they muster it up one more time?
Can they find the gaps that they've been missing tonight? As Andrew Phibbs, he'll deal, swung on, fouled off at home plate. Jody just catches a piece of it as the fans start to get a little bit more boisterous here at Currie Stadium. They've come out in droves the entire week. Tonight is no different as they're here to witness the championship. Phibbs comes and swings and misses, does Jody Ite.
And we want to say congratulations to Margaret Ryan, who comes in with a 50-50 winning ticket.
So an 0-2 count as Phibbs will come just down and away for ball one.
Ontario is winning everything here in Midland this week.
Andrew Phibbs on in relief at Ethier. Stroked and into the glove of Brandon Horn. Good play ranging to his left. Brandon gathers that one up. And I'm sure Jody thought he had a base hit after it got by Robbie O'Brien. But it was Brandon Horn coming and scooping it up for the easy putout of the ISC veteran.
Well, if some of the Team Canada coaches who were here earlier in the week are still here, they might have just been looking at the double play combo of the future with Brandon Horn and Ian Fairman. A great play there by Brandon Horn to go well in the hole to go get that ball to his left.
Popped in for strike one at the knees. Blair Ezekiel will try to start something here. He's got a single to his credit. Was stranded out at second base in the fourth inning. Andrew winds, deals that one up and away as the count runs 1-1. Andrew Phibbs has sat on the bench for the most part this season, giving way to Trevor Ethier and Adam Folkert. Has stroked out to left center field. That will fall in for a base hit. And Blair Ezekiel continues to lead this Rivershark Twins hitting attack this week here in Midland as he gets his second single of the game.
Well, Blair Ezekiel just does what he does best, puts the bat out on the ball, lets the bat do the work, bloops it over the infield. He can hit for power, too, when he needs to, but right now, what this Kitchener Rivershark squad needs is runners.
Yeah, absolutely. Need to put some guys on base here. Robbie Gray will come to the plate. He's got a sacrifice bunt and a strikeout. As Phibbs winds, choppered, right to Fairman, tag second, on to first, call it two, an ending double play, Fairman to O'Brien. Hey Blair, let's head to the seventh inning here in Midland, Michigan.
Well, the Jarvis Travellers clicking on all cylinders. Right now, the offense is in gear, the defense is in gear, the pitching is in gear. It's not the guy that you thought was going to be on the mound. It's not the letter that starts, or it starts with A, but it's not Adam. It's Andrew. Andrew Phibbs is the guy that has been the man here for the Jarvis Travellers. He picked up the win in the losers bracket final. He stands to get the win here in the winners bracket final, or the winners championship game. Hell.
Well, it looks like we'll have a pitching change coming as Grant Patterson is getting set down in the dugout area of the Rivershark Twins. So Donnie Scott's night is over.
And Kyle, just one more time, we want to thank our sponsors here on the broadcast program. Corbett, Source for Sports in Oakville, Ontario. The AAU tournament at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida, the third week of January. Stock Pack out of Ashland, Ohio, for all your packaging needs. Combat Sports Group. Combats. We're going to hand another one out to the leading hitter here this week. And Patriot Technologies for your comprehensive IT solutions. Thanks to one and all to help us bring these broadcasts to you, the viewers, and to you, the viewers. Thank you for being with us all week here on ISC TV, as well as listening to Ballpark Radio.
Well, as Grant Patterson comes in, he will try and close the door and give his offense an opportunity to come back and stake their claim to a title, or at least come with a tie and give a few more innings of life here to the Rivershark Twins. You know, we said earlier that there is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow here at the ISCs, but a lot of these players, at least the Canadian players, will head out east to Prince Edward Island for the 2010 Senior Men's Canadian Championships. But I guarantee you right now, the only thing on their mind is trying to win another ISC title if you're the Rivershark Twins. If you're the Jarvis Travellers, you're trying to upend the two-time defending champions from Kitchener.
Well, the Twins were looking for an opportunity to go down in history as one of the best teams in ISC history. There's only been one team in history that's won more than 2 in a row, and that being the Long Beach Nighthawks. And that hasn't been done since the late 50s.
Late 50s, early 60s, the last time that happened. So, as Brandon Horn will lead things off.
Horn to face Patterson now. And Patterson just misses on that outside corner. Horn's hit the ball hard twice, but hasn't been able to find a hole. And there Patterson gets a called strike. Again, a different look from Don Scott to Grant Patterson. Patterson about 6'6", maybe 6'7". Big, tall, lanky right-hander, throws it hard. And that one in for a strike on that outside corner again. Donnie Scott features a lot of rise balls. Patterson will come in and pound away with the drop on that outside corner. Jarvis out in front, now 4-1. And this one a foul back at the plate by young Brandon Horn. And this kid, Kyle, has got a ton of potential. He's going to be a star in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking with Steve Kuzer this week, he was having high praises for Brandon Horn and what he has done this season with the Jarvis Travellers.
Chopper at the plate, foul, and the entire Jarvis bench up at the screen. Those guys have been up all game, that Jarvis bench. Trying to push their mates on to victory. And again, a chopper foul at the plate. So Brandon Horn doing a great job of making Grant Patterson work onto about the 7th pitch of this at bat.
While Brandon's splitting those hands when he gets 2 strikes on him, trying to quicken that swing through the zone.
Yeah, he spreads them even further. He goes up there with about half an inch gap and then works that up to about 1.5 inches or more. And just trying to push that ball the opposite way. This one misses down and in. One of the few times we've seen anybody come inside here tonight. There you see that Jarvis bench, everybody up at the fence. Great camera work there by Mike Betts. Chopper, this one hits the plate and foul again. So 4 of the last 5 pitches, we've been foul at the plate. And Horn is just tying up a shoe, I guess. He was down on one knee for a second there, out at where the grass meets the infield dirt. So 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brandon Horn. A great battle here, leading things off in the top of the 7th inning. And now time at the plate. I think it must have been Patty Shannon that called for it. Now he's going to go out and have a chat with Grant Patterson. A terrific day for fastballs turned into a terrific evening. Everybody out here still in shirt sleeves. No breeze. Nothing to speak of. Horn swings and misses, so Patterson wins this battle. And that'll bring up Rob O'Brien. It's taken until the championship game for Robbie O'Brien to get on track, but he had a double and came in to score back in the 3rd and then hit the ball hard again in the 5th. and waves at a little off speed from Grant Patterson for strike one. I wonder if either of these two could count how many times they've faced each other over the years.
Probably in the umpteen dozen, I would imagine, as a lot of these players have continued to battle over the years.
Drilled right into the glove of Miller on a hop. A real good play by Miller, as that was a hard hit ball. He reached on the backhand and snared it. So some outstanding defense from both second basemen here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Miller ranging up through the middle. Backhand play, sure-handed from Kingsville, Texas. He just flipped it over for the second out of the inning.
And now Tim McCumber, who spent a fair bit of time down the line warming up, I would gather probably rather unexpectedly for him, as he swings and misses. I don't think Timmy McCumber expected to be pitching in this championship game in his wildest dreams. McCumber hit a high hopper up through the middle his last trip. Donnie Scott didn't have a chance at it, but Grant Patterson might have been able to reach that one. This one, a big cut by Timmy Mack, comes up empty. All of the outfielders are playing Timmy Mack to a slight pull. Everybody is just off of their brown patch in left, center, and right, respectively. And just missing off that outside corner. Everybody wants to go out there because that's where the calls have been. Wuramu Tamaki's done a fantastic job behind the plate here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And McCumber fouls off that little off-speed pitch from Patterson as he worked it inside. Waiting on deck is Sean O'Brien. Waiting to see if Timmy McCumber can extend this inning. Swing and a miss. Outside off the plate. Down goes Tim McCumber, but the Jarvis Travellers 3 outs away from an ISC World Championship, and up to bring it to you is Kyle Smith.
Well, and as we head to that inning, it will be the hometown kid from Jarvis, Ontario, Andrew Phibbs, as he will get a chance to close things out here. Patty Graham will come into the ball game defensively for either McCumber or O'Brien. Either had been out there. And I believe I saw the point to O'Brien indicating that he was the substitute. I possibly think number 10 is out.
And we just want to give a shout out there to our cameraman. That's Jerry Betts out on the scaffolding out in center field. And that's Mike Betts out on the third baseline. Guys, you've done a great job for us all week long here. Congratulations on another job well done, and thank you. A big thank you.
We also want to say thanks to our production assistants, Roseanne Allen and
everybody
Jessica Allen. And, of course, Dave Blackburn, the executive producer. My broadcast partner, Blair Setford, and everybody here on ISC Fast Pitch. It's been our privilege to bring you.
There's the Betts there waving in the orange shirt. Is
Derek and Jeff.
They've been running the scoreboard on the Meredith screens that you've been watching all week long, so a big thank you to them as well. We couldn't do it without the Betts family. We couldn't do it without you, the viewers, as well. So again, thank you for your support all week long, and to everybody on the broadcast team, fantastic job. Well, it's all you.
It's last call for the Rivershark Twins as Andrew Phibbs finds himself on the mound. He sets and deals that one down away to Darryl Joy as he'll lead things off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And just for insurance purposes, Trevor Ethier back up throwing. Phibbs again with it. Right on the plate for strike one. Joy takes all the way, and the count runs 1 ball, 1 strike. Larry Lynch crosses his arms at third base. No signals to run through because it's basically put the ball in play, Darryl. Andrew steps, throws, swung on, put out to right center field. Out number 1 to Benny Noka and the Jarvis Travellers. Blake Miller now will come to the plate. 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a fly out. That fly out, another rope shot out to the right fielder, Inoka. The Rivershark Twins came through the winner's bracket, undefeated into tonight. Phibbs winds and works outside for ball 1. Jarvis, they rolled through the first 3. They lost to the Gremlins Thursday night 3-1, coughing up a lead. One of very few times that they've given up a lead, as that one came for strike 1. They reeled off 3 in a row over PA Power, Chicago, New York, and the Gremlins in retribution. Brings us to where we are tonight. Phibbs, a chopper. Andrew, underhand, out number 2. So Ryan Wolf now, if Jarvis wants a championship, they'll have to do it through one of the best hitters in the world. Nick Shales, the left fielder. Turkelson in center. Benny Noka in right field. Brad Rona, Ian Fairman, Brandon Horn, and Timmy McCumber on the diamond. Phibbs deals just at the knees. Missing for ball 1. Sean O'Brien's been calling the games today for the Jarvis Travellers as Andrew Phibbs settles in. The tall right-hander winds, deals, swung on, chopper, Fairman over, Cup champions. It's the local kid who wins it for the Jarvis Travellers. They are the 2010 ISC World Champions as Andrew Phibbs comes on and shuts the door after Trevor Ethier pitched a gem of a ball game, and the Rivershark Twins, they suffer a defeat at the ISC World Tournament and a championship for the first time in 3 years. What a ball game. You can make the final score 4-1 in favor of Jarvis, and leading the Kitchener Rivershark Twins through handshakes is Todd Martin.
Well, the feel-good story of the tournament, Kyle, has to be Andrew Phibbs. You said he sat on the bench most of the year watching Ethier and Falkert and even Robbie O'Brien getting the pitching time ahead of him. He comes on here in relief in the loser's bracket final, picks up the win over the New York Gremlins. He comes on early against the Kitchener Rivershark Twins, a rested squad, and is able to pick up the win in the World Championship game. And Andrew Phibbs, a world champion for the Jarvis Travellers.
Well, it's been a long season for Andrew of sitting around and not seeing a lot of innings, but he was there when the tap on the shoulder came for his own team, the Jarvis Travellers, as they come away and they are now the new ISC World Tournament champions. Has lots of mutual respect between these two teams. Handshakes and fist bumps and hugs all around for the Travellers and the Rivershark Twins.
And how about a class move by Steve Kuzer to put Pat Graham out at first base to be on the field to win that championship with Andrew Phibbs?
Well, a class move, but also a wise defensive move, as Patty, one of the sure-handed first basemen as well. But absolutely, it's been a long time coming for Pat Graham.
Kyle, I'm going to go down on the field to partake in the trophy ceremony, and I want to thank you for your outstanding work, Lance Wynn, Joe Todd, everybody in the Ballpark Radio crew who did such a great job here this week, Jessica and Roseanne and Derek and Jeff and Jerry and Mike and everybody here on Ballpark Radio and on ISC TV, David Blackburn. Guys, job well done. Thank you. Fantastic work all week long.
Well, Blair Setford will set the headset down for one last time this year. as it's been a whale of a summer on Ballpark Radio and ISC TV, concluding this week out. And we want to say thanks to everybody for joining us in this week. It's been our pleasure to bring these games to you here from Midland, Michigan. As you can see on the screen, the Kitchener Rivershark Twins having a post-game gathering. Can't quite hang their heads for too long, as they have done extremely well all season long, but they just come up a little bit short in the championship game to a very great team in the Jarvis Travellers. The Travellers come in as number one. They leave as the number one seed. And we will sit here and participate in the closing ceremonies, the award presentations coming up. You can see everybody on the diamond looking in and getting the award ceremony set up. As we'll pan over towards there, you can see the individuals getting things set up. The Jarvis Travellers are the 2010 ISC World Tournament champions. They came the long way through the losers bracket into today. Reeled off 3 wins here on Championship Saturday to stake their claim to the Carol Forbes Memorial Championship Trophy. Steve Kuser gets the ice-cold water bath after leading this Travelers team to a championship, a very well-deserved championship. Of course, one of the sponsors, Doc Simmons, at home and watching. We want to wish Doc all the best and our deepest condolences on the loss of his father. This may make that just a little bit easier, as Doc's father was a great supporter of Doc and all his Broken Bow teams. You can see the goings on, and I want to commend the host committee on a great ISC World Tournament this season, the 2010 version. We had fantastic weather all week long. The only hiccup in the schedule would have been, I believe, way back on Sunday or Monday, when the games were pushed off from their original start times, the first slate of games. Other than that, it has been absolutely picture perfect here in Midland, Michigan. I can't remember the last time that we came to a tournament, let alone an ISC tournament, or any tournament, where the weather, for the length of this one, cooperated for so much. Ken Hackmeister trying to get the Jarvis Travellers set up and prepared for the awards ceremony and presentations. We'll just turn our crowd mic up just a little bit more to bring you in on the festivities that have been the ISC World Tournament.
Mike, you can shut down now.
We're going to leave the channel open, but I will turn things over with Ken Hackmeister as long as everything comes through nice and clear, as we will get ready for the closing ceremonies and the awards presentations for the...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the awards ceremony in the 2010 ISC World Tournament. Standing on the field behind all of the hardware are ISC commissioners and specialists who will be involved in the award presentations. Before we begin the ceremony tonight, I'd like to tournament microphone over to Midland tournament organizer Kyle Bean.
Thanks, Kenny. Real quick, just a couple things to say. First, the fans really proved this week that Midland still cares about fast pitch softball. There was great turnouts all week. Thank you very much for coming to the park.
As you can see, Kyle Bean sharing some final thoughts from the host committee, thanking the fans for coming out.
Great group of volunteers that helped out. A tournament like this does not happen without them picking up trash, taking tickets. Thank you very much to that group. We've got 3 of them right here. The guys in the red shirts down here, these are our grounds crew. There's about 20 of them total for the week. Great job, guys. Thank you very much. And finally, we had a committee of about 25 people that have been working on this for over a year and a half. Some of them are up here in front. I can't tell you the hours and the effort that they put into this. Thanks, guys. You made it all worthwhile.
Kyle Bean, one of the host committee chairmen of the 2010 ISC World Tournament.
We begin our awards ceremony with the best dressed team. That award was previously awarded at opening ceremonies last Saturday, and it went to the Kitchener, Ontario Outlaws.
Kitchener Rivershark, the Kitchener Outlaws, being named as the best dressed team at the opening ceremonies.
The first award tonight is the Frank Porth Memorial Team Sportsmanship Award, and it goes to Pennsylvania Power of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
The PA Power pick up the Sportsmanship Award here at the 2010 ISC World Tournament.
Our 4th place team in the 2010 ISC World Tournament was Chicago, New York, from New York City. Can we have a representative come onto the field and accept the trophy? Anyone here from Chicago, New York?
You'll see Paul McCart very shortly come on to your screen. He'll accept the award for the 4th place finish of the Chicago, New York Fast Pitch Club. The Jarvis Travellers are the 2010 ISC World Tournament champions.
The New York Gremlins from Clifton Park, New York.
The Clifton Park, New York Gremlins are named in the 3rd place finisher. Craig Leather will accept that award on behalf of the New York Gremlins. He'll accept that from Bill Howe, Vice President of U.S. East.
The 2010 runner-up team from Kitchener, Ontario, the Rivershark Twins.
The Rivershark Twins named as the runners-up. They will come forward and collect the trophy. Bob Nidick, one of the sponsors, of course, Jim Hallman, also the other sponsor on the Hallman Twins.
And now individual awards for the team members of the Kitchener Rivershark Twins.
So the next will be the Rivershark Twins Team Award.
Don Scott. Pat Shannon. Scott Newitt.
Pat Shannon and Don Scott award have received their team award. Scott Newitt
Dave Bailey.
also will receive his. Dave Bailey, a good friend of ours on ISC TV and Ballpark Radio. We were in Tavistock earlier this summer. It was our pleasure to get there for the first time, and we hope we can make a return trip in 2011. Jason Sanford
Chris Schufeld.
will receive his award.
Blake Miller.
Blake Miller will come forward. I believe that's Chris Schufeld. No, that's Daryl Joy.
Johnson.
I did hear Chris's name get called, and we were under the speculation that Chris was unavailable. So he's not here, as
Brad
the
Ezekiel.
Toronto FC, the professional soccer club in Toronto, were taking part in CONCACAF
Blair Ezekiel.
trials. Group playing, unable to attend was Schufeld.
Jody Ite.
Blair and Brad Ezekiel received their
Evan Boyd.
trophies.
Jeff Goolagong.
Jody Ite, Evan Boyd, Jeff Goolagong come forward.
Todd Martin.
Todd Martin, a very dejected Todd Martin, as he was not available for his team this year after his first
Rob
game,
Gray.
suffering an injury earlier this week. Robbie Gray added to the
Ryan
team
Wolf.
in June, right before the Legends tournament, as a great addition and helped this team get to where they are.
Patterson.
Of course, Ryan Wolf, the all-world center fielder. Big Grant Patterson
Kelly McGiffin.
will come out, accept his award from Dick Mason. The coaches now, manager Kelly McGiffin,
Larry Lynch.
Larry Lynch, another
Bob Knighty.
stop on our ball tour schedule. The Legends tournament earlier this summer. Already in talks for 2011. Bob Neidick will collect his award.
And Cyril and
Greg
Moss.
Neidick, of course, Bob's son and scorekeeper. Cyril and Meg Moss will come forward and get their plaques from Canada East Vice President Blair Setford.
Let's have a nice hand for the previous two-time defending champions of the ISC World Tournament, the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. And now it's our pleasure to present the Carol Forbes Memorial Championship Trophy to the 2010 ISC World Champions, the Jarvis Travellers, Jarvis, Ontario.
The Jarvis Travellers now will come forward and receive the Carol Forbes Memorial Trophy.
Can we get a representative to come on the field and pick up the trophy?
Steve Kuzer, Daryl Fearman, Fred McKean, and Clark Statz will come and collect the trophy from Canada East Vice President Blair Setford. You're watching the award ceremonies of the 2010 ISC World Tournament from Midland, Michigan, as the Carol Forbes Memorial Trophy is handed over. Now the individual awards to the Jarvis Travellers.
Will Fairman,
Brandon Horn, Will Fairman. Ian Fairman was the one that made the last out in the bottom of the seventh inning on that bouncer. To Fairman,
Tim McCumber,
to Pat Graham, to win the championship for the Jarvis Travellers. Tim McCumber will come out. A lot of veterans on this team that had to accept some different roles this year. In a support role for some others still maintain their starting position. Sean O'Brien will come out and collect his award. Big, tall, right-handed pitcher Adam Folkard will come out. Ben Inoka, one of the bright, young, up-and-coming New Zealand national team players.
Brad Rona.
Alan Phibbs and Brad Rona. As you see, Rona shaking hands with Bill Howe. Lee Eisenhart with Alan Phibbs. Trevor Ethier to get his trophy.
Jeff Ellsworth.
The injured Jeff Ellsworth. You can still notice Jeff with a little bit of a limp, but in full uniform and on the diamond as he becomes a repeat world champion. Greg Cornier. As that is Jeff Ellsworth.
Pat Graham.
The longtime Jarvis Traveller, the hometown kid, Pat Graham, will receive his ISC individual trophy. Nick Shales, as well, the second baseman.
Andrew Phibbs.
Andrew Phibbs, the winning pitcher for the ISC World Tournament.
Chad Stats.
Actually, I stand corrected. Trevor Ethier will pick up the win.
Rob O'Brien.
Ethier will get the save Phibbs will get the save as Andrew comes on and shuts down the potent lineup of the Kitchener Rivershark Twins. Robbie O'Brien. Chad Stats was out there previously. Freddie Turkelson. Steve Kuzer, the manager for the Jarvis Travellers. Daryl Fairman. Fred McKean to come and gather up his trophy.
Ken Fenwick. And Clark Stats.
Clark Stats to come and receive his keeper trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have another nice round of applause for the 2010 ISC World Champions, the Jarvis Travellers, Jarvis, Ontario.
The Jarvis Travellers, the champions of the 2010 ISC World Tournament.
We now move on to our all-world teams. We'll begin with the second team. Designated hitter, Greg Garrity of Adco Electric.
Greg Garrity named as a second team all-world designated player.
The outfield, Brad DeBellable of Hickson Reds.
He was on the IC2 also, too.
Outfield, Tommy Thompson, Minnesota Angels. Outfield, Ryan Gray, Galveston Indians.
You're listening to the awards presentation of the ISC World Tournament.
Outfield, Dave Woolman, Adco Electric.
Dave Woolman, Adco Electric, picking up an all-world nomination.
Second team infield, Blake Miller, Kitchener Rivershark Twins.
Second team infield member, Blake Miller. He'll accept that award from Dick Mason.
Jamie Boyd, Shakespeare Falcons.
Jamie Boyd, named as an infield all-world nomination with the Shakespeare Falcons.
Thomas Nunez, Chicago Fast Pitch, Chicago, New York Fast Pitch. Infield, Keith Franklin, Alvinston Indians.
Keith Rankin named as an infield all-world nominee. The Alvinston Indians turned a lot of heads this week, making a deep run into the playoffs.
Todd Schultz, Chicago, New York Fast Pitch.
Todd Schultz named to the all-world from Chicago Fast Pitch.
Moving to the second team catchers, Sean O'Brien, Jarvis Travellers.
Sean O'Brien named as a second team catcher on the all-world nomination.
Catcher, John Seeger, Adco Electric. Moving to the pitchers, Regan Manley, Alba Inc.
You're listening and watching the awards presentation of the ISC World Tournament. We're into the pitchers of the all-world category.
Pitcher, Doug Gillis, Mickey Sleds.
Doug Gillis from Mickey Sleds, the one co-host team.
Pitcher, Jonas Mock, Pete's Blues. Moving to the first team, ISC All-World Team. And as players come onto the field to receive their awards, we ask that you remain on the diamond so we can get a group photo at the conclusion. Designated hitter, Rob Schweier, Pennsylvania Power.
Robbie Schreier named
First team,
to the all-world.
Steve Mullally, Chicago, New York Fast Pitch. Outfield, Caleb Gardner, California A's. outfield, Jeremy Tracy, New York Gremlins.
Jeremy Tracy named as an all-world nominee, and Jeremy had one heck of a week. 2 home runs in the loser bracket final game.
Kitchener Rivershark Twins.
Ryan Wolf named to another all-world team.
Rob, stay on the field, please. Moving to the infield, first team infielder, Brennan Pokaway, Saskatoon Diamondbacks. First team infield, Brad Rona, Jarvis Travellers. First team infield, Blair Ezekiel, Kitchener Rivershark Twins. First team infield, Nick Shales, Jarvis Travellers. First team infield, Ian Fairman, Jarvis Travellers. Moving to the catchers, first team catcher, Brad Diaz, Pennsylvania Power.
Brad Faze named as an all-world catcher from Pennsylvania Power.
First team catcher, Pat Shannon, Kitchener Rivershark Twins. Moving to the pitchers, first team pitcher, Sean Cleary, Pennsylvania Power.
Sean Cleary had one of those weeks this week that, as a coming out party, will be remembered for a very long time. Jeremy Manley, a workhorse, a one-man show for Chicago, New York, as he pitched them all the way to the semifinal of the loser bracket.
Adam Folkert, Jarvis Travellers.
Adam Folkert named as the first team pitcher, all-world nominee.
I'd like to ask all of the members of the ISC All-World First Team to move over into the shortstop area for a group photo.
Jeremy Manley, you see accepting his award as being a first-team All-World.
While they're taking a group photo of the All-World team, we'll move on. The next award is the Kevin Herlihy Memorial Newcomer of the Year. And it goes to Jamie Boyd, Shakespeare Falcons.
Jamie Boyd named as the Kevin Herlihy Newcomer of the Year award. Jamie, of course, with the Shakespeare Falcons.
The next award, the Leroy Zimmerman Most Outstanding Pitcher Award, goes to Adam Folker, Jarvis Travellers.
Adam Folker named as the most outstanding pitcher. The Leroy Zimmerman Award.
And our final award of the evening, the Cleo Goyette Most Valuable Player. The award goes to Nick Shales, Jarvis Travellers.
Nick Shales named as the most valuable player of the 2010 ISC World Tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the awards ceremony. Again, our congratulations to the Jarvis Travellers. We wish all of you a safe trip home. We thank you for your attendance. We thank you for your travels. We look forward to seeing you next year in the Quad Cities, specifically Moline, Illinois.
Ken Hackmeister wrapping up his thing, so we'll turn down our crowd mic as things wrap up on the diamond and the festivities will roll on for the Jarvis Travellers, the 2010 ISC World Tournament. Some closing thoughts from the broadcast booth as our season has drawn to a close. We started back in January at the AAU tournament. We headed west the month of June in California. During the month of July, we swung east and to the north into the Ontario region, mainly into Kitchener and Tavistock. We went south of the border down to Erie, Pennsylvania, came back north for the Stratford Midget Boys Canadian Championships, and of course, rounding it out this week here on ISC TV at the 2010 ISC World Tournament. As we conclude things, we want to say thanks for joining in here on ISC TV. It's been a privilege for us to bring it to you. So for one last time from the broadcast booth, we want to say thanks for joining us. For Dave Blackburn, Roseanne and Jessica Allen, Jerry, Mike, Jeff, Derek Betts, Blair, Lance, Jim, Joe, Kyle Bean, Chad Honecker, Billy Hillhouse, Derek Pukash, and Jody Snar. So long from Curry Stadium. You've been watching a presentation of ISC TV.